Right, so today I'm doing a vlogging test with the Canon M50. I have it on my most portable, most compact setup at the moment. It is on a monopod, which I've only got extended to about 30 centimeters at the moment. I just like to use the monopod with a little bit of extension for a tiny bit of extra stability. I find when I'm using a shorty handle of any description on any of my cameras, actually not only the M50 but particularly the M50 because of the weight, I find that it adds a bit of instability to the entire jaw. So I like to put a little bit of an extension on it. The monopod I'm using at the moment as well has an expanded foam handle as well, and I find that takes a little bit of the shock out of the footsteps. I walk like a galumph and I stomp when I go. I do a lot of walking though, so I need my vlogging rigs to be able to keep up with my particularly beastly style of walking, and they need to do the autofocusing thing. So I've been on the cusp of selling this M50. There will be a series of vlogging tests over the next few days. I'm going to pit this Canon M50 against the G7X and the GoPro Hero 7 Black, which I think is absolutely fantastic for vlogging. Actually, I'm going to put this camera against the other two cameras I have and see if there's actually a need for me to keep this camera. So somewhere in the descriptions around, you should see those other two tests. They will all these videos will be uploaded at the same time, and you can do a comparison yourself if you're thinking of getting this M50 or if you're still contemplating which vlogging rig to use. I have quite a few videos up of how to use this M50, various different styles of vlogging rigs, external mics, different options, cheap budget options, and also very compact options, because I've been fooling around with this for a while. The setup I have at the moment I call my Tomahawk setup. It's actually a really good setup for what can sometimes become quite a big vlogging rig. This M50 with a massive external mic on top of it, etc., can usually get quite obtrusive. This particular setup at the moment is one of the cheapest once you have an M50, and it is also one of the most compact. At the moment I'm using this on a sort of a manual setting. I think it's on the TV mode, and I have the aperture set, I have the white priority, the white balance set, so it's on a priority mode of a sort. How's it doing stability wise? How's the sound? So this sound is through a lavalier mic, which is not on my person at all. I personally find lavalier mics to be quite a pain in the ass. Just before you want to shoot, you have to run it up your shirt and all that kind of stuff, clip it in, then run it back around. If the wire is not long enough, then it sort of pulls at the bottom of your shirt and lifts up and puts a bit of pressure on the microphone input on the camera, and that's not what I'm all about. I just want ease of use. So what I do is I've used a lavalier mic, wrapped it around the monopod, and used the hair clip to keep it just in front of and above my hand. So at the moment the lavalier mic is about 30 to 40 centimeters away from my mouth, directly in front of me, just underneath the camera, and it should be doing quite a good job. I also, this is one of the cheapest options. Lavalier mics are like a dime a dozen compared to like Rode Video Mic Pros and things like that. Lavalier mics also super tiny. If I want even better audio or there's more noise around me, I can just take this lavalier mic, clip it on my shirt and the audio will be absolutely perfect. But I find that this sort of distance does a perfect job as well. There's less inclination to clip because there's a bit of distance between myself and the microphone. I also don't mind if it records the audio slightly softly. I can do a bit of a compression in post-production and then just boost the dB slightly. I don't want to boost the dB too much because that raises the noise floor as well. So first a little bit of compression and then a small dB boost. How's this looking so far? Is this any good? Can my M50 survive? Should it stay in my arsenal in this Tomahawk, guys, and keep doing a job for me? Or can my G7X and GoPro Hero 7 do it all? So at the moment we're off to go and get breakfast. Breakfast today is going to be some biltong. Biltong, in case you don't know, is a South African food that is basically dried meat, raw dried meat. They take a piece of meat, they put it in a bit of vinegar and they salt it and spice it, hang it up, and when it's dry you slice it thinly and eat it. That's gonna be my breakfast. Of course, I'm feeling like an animal today. There's a great biltong shop just up the road which has only been open a short time. They sell the best biltong around. So the best biltong is yellow fat biltong. Biltong with yellow fat as opposed to white fat which sticks to the roof of your mouth. And I like it very, very raw and very pink. So as opposed to when it's super dry, it's quite a dark brown and not really meat-like anymore. I like mine super raw and very, very, very fatty. That's what this particular shop sells. So it's worth the walk, hopefully. Also, give me a chance to test this funny old M50 out. The other thing about this M50 is its heft. This is quite a lot weightier than the G7X. I say a lot weightier, I mean I really shouldn't complain about the weight of this camera, and I suppose I'm not complaining about it. Compared to a DSLR, it's really quite small, quite compact. At the moment I have the 11 to 22 millimeter lens on it, which is really quite small, not heavy for a lens. It does a fantastic job of framing as well. You can see the amount of real estate that is available over here on this 11 millimeter setting, and also with the small lavalier mic and a very light monopod. I don't know what it weighs, but it's really not a lot. If I'm complaining about it, I'll just need to get a bit stronger, do a few press ups or whatever, and that'll be the thing. But compared to the GoPro Hero 7 and its Ulanzi case with the external mic adapter, and the G7X, which is just the camera on its own, no external mics because it can't take any, which is probably its biggest weakness, the G7X anyway. But it's so super compact, does a great job of recording sound and things, that compared to this M50 is a veritable lightweight compared. that is probably the lightest, easiest vlogging setup that you get. I really can't understand why the G7X is one of the best vlogging cams around. Stability, it has it. Form factor, unparalleled. Cost, well, it's not such a cheap camera on its own, but once you've bought it, you have it. You don't need external microphones because the onboard sound does a great job. All you need to do is cut off a teddy bear's backside, stick it to the top of the camera to act as a wind muff, and boom, you're on your way. You're on your way to becoming a vlogging god. With the easiest, lightest camera there is, I would say, for ladies and things like that, or anybody who wants a compact, light setup. G7X is your answer. This M50 gives you a lot of functionality though, gives you a lot of different options. So there's definite pros to this M50 as opposed to the G7X, but at what price? Actual monetary price, and at the cost of stretching your muscles out because you have to lug it around. Like I say, it is definitely a bit heavier, it is definitely a bit more bulky, it's a bit more obtrusive. If you go into a crowd holding this camera on a monopod, I think people could think they're about to get brained. It looks like a massive Thor's hammer compared to the tiny little form factor of the G7X, which is really not much bigger than a GoPro if you actually put them side by side, and probably close on the same weight as well once you've put a case or cage on the GoPro. How's this footage looking? I'm in a scene now where there's a lot of shadow behind me. Is the shadow super dark? Can you see any detail in the shadow? There's a lot of light, obviously, a lot of light on my face. Is it blowing out? I have the white balance set to sunny day, so with all this darkness behind me, can you still see in the shadows? That's quite important to me. And how's the sky looking? I like the sky in all my scenes. You know, obviously when the sky is blue, I keep switching hands, that's why the camera gets a little bit rolly every now and again. How rolly does that look as I switch hands? I could stop, switch hands and continue again, but I'm a busy vlogger. I have to keep walking no matter what. So there's not many clouds around today. I like to always see how much of the detail I can get in clouds as well. I think it's super important that you catch a lot of detail in the cloud. Some cameras will only catch a cloud as a grey or a white blob in the sky, sort of blown out. I like the cameras to pick up all the detail. Again, GoPro Hero 7 does a great job of catching all the details in the clouds and of keeping the sky nice and blue. How is this Canon doing? This Canon M50. The G7X has a built-in ND filter, which this camera does not have. A built-in ND filter is something that I think every vlogging camera should have, especially if you vlog in the places I do, in the Caribbean, on islands in the middle of the ocean, and in Africa where I am now. Our sun doesn't play games here. It is turned up to maximum all the time. So an ND filter works great for cutting out the glare of road surfaces and things like that. I can, however, put an ND filter on the outside of this Canon lens, and that is something that I have yet to purchase. If this M50 survives the cull, will it live or will it die? While I was at the biltong shop, popped across the road to the dead people's shop the hospice. It's a great little hospice shop here that I like to support. Managed to get myself a nice little sling bag. So one of those little triangular sling bags that goes across your back. Watch my other video for how to use an M50 with the full vlogging setup in one of these triangular sling bags. It's the best little bag I've managed to find for this particular kind of vlogging setup. You know, a sort of bridge kind of camera with a full wind muffed external mic on top of it. Instead of having to break down the camera every time, take the external mic off and things, I like to keep it reasonably accessible. So I use these triangular bags. I now have two different style triangular bags. The one is quite bulky, but it carries all my stuff, including batteries and all that kind of stuff. But I now have a super lightweight one. It's literally just very thin material in its triangular shape, which will be able to carry this camera around in a pinch. Definitely one of the better little ways to carry around a vlogging rig. Watch that video, you won't be disappointed, I think. And now it's off to try and order my new glasses. Went for my eye test 2 days ago, and yes, I've gotten older in the last 4 years since I last got a prescription for glasses. I need them, of course, for when I tattoo. I gotten to the point where I need to wear glasses to keep things looking sharp. But now I've ordered some tattoo specific glasses. They are single vision and the focus is locked at about this distance away from me. So I can't see things over here. I can't see things over there with these glasses, but at the Goldilocks distance away from myself where I happen to work, they will be perfect, hopefully. So off to order them now. I'm gonna look like a geek afterwards with my new thick glasses, but it's gonna put me right back into the game, hopefully. How's this M50 doing? It's been a little bit of a mission carrying around, going into shops. It's quite big and bulky. With my smaller vlogging rigs on a monopod, I can clip them onto a little string and attach it to my belt, and they're usually quite unobtrusive, like this same setup with the external lavalier mic, the monopod, and the GoPro Hero 7. I can do that. This M50 is a little bit chunky for it. It's probably possible to do, but I wouldn't like to walk into a table or something with my hip and the M50 attached. I don't think that would go down too well. Anyway, here I am. Let me go see about them glasses. And there we have it. An hour later, and my tattoo glasses have been ordered 2 pairs. Both of them make me look like a stone cold serial killer, so that's great. One makes me look a lot more like a pedophile, which is not that great. You sure those glasses were right?
Yeah, no, they're lekker. I love the clear ones.
Got my worst person on the job helping me choose frames. Well, my mate Tam needs glasses herself, so I'm asking her, hey, what do these look like? What do these look like? She's like, oh, thumbs up. Back at the ranch, I know she can't even see that far. Hey Tam.
Hey, I saw them just fine.
No, you didn't. I know how bad your eyes are. Yeah, so those are on the way. I know, I see the truck. I'm not scared of a truck.
I'm scared of the truck.
It's only a 4-tonner. So, now, off to get some black pudding for lunch. Biltong for breakfast, black pudding for lunch. I'm living it up today. Living it up.
You know, it is almost supper time.
What are they building here?
It's like 2 to 3.
What on earth are they building here?
I don't know, but it's not breakfast time.
I've had breakfast already. Well, I bought breakfast already, but I haven't eaten it yet. I bought biltong for breakfast. Haven't had a chance to put it in my mouth yet. So I'm going to eat breakfast at dinner time. And I'll eat lunch at dinner time as well. I'll eat breakfast and lunch at dinner time for dinner. Then that'll be me for the day. So there's a bit of wind around. This lavalier microphone has a dead cat on it. Come on. Come on. Come on. This lavalier mic has a dead cat on it. Is there any wind noise? At the moment we've probably got about 10 knots of wind blowing. So there should be some wind on the microphone. I'm stuck in the middle of the road now. Where are we going?
Oh, it's green.
There we go.
Safe.
Safe as houses. Tam's the worst road crosser in history. Usually I have to wait half an hour for her because she's a nervous Nelly. Where are you going?
No, that's a very long road.
What road is this? Oh, okay. I was a bit lost there.
But on here,
So, with this lavalier mic, there was a bit of wind noise over there, a bit of car noise, lots of cars idling at the robots and things. Were you able to hear me alright? Just with the lavalier mic, how much of this extraneous noise can you hear? Cars driving past, etc. Again, the lavalier mic's only 30 centimeters in front of my face, so it should pick up my voice okay. The wind is now blowing this way, so it's blowing my voice away from the microphone, which could be a little problematic. But how much extraneous noise can you hear in this microphone? There's a phone ringing over there in a car. Could you hear that? It's now been answered. He did take a while to answer his phone. Don't you hate when people do that? And at the moment we're walking very fast. Yes.
you know text, don't you?
Yes, I do, yeah. Ah. Oh wow. My mom's ex-husband. Crazy. Tiny world. Crazy. Ciao, enjoy. Oh wow. How weird is that? Walking along. Sean Stevens. Woo. My mother's ex-husband from 1,000 years ago. His daughter hanging out the window. No, not daughter. No. My mother's other ex-husband. Where are you walking? My mother's first ex-husband. That was his daughter, whom I've never met in my life before. Thanks to social media and all that other weird stuff. She knows who I am, even when I'm walking around with a camera on a stick. I'm proper famous, yo. That was so weird. So random. Anyway, now I've met hey, she could have been my sister. Huh? She is kind of a bit like my sister. Sort of. She's my sister twice removed. Huh? Something like that. Can you hear the birds? The little bird nests in that tree. Birds are twittering and cheeping. Could you hear them in this lavalier microphone? Yes, no, yes, no. I'm also using a 512 gigabyte memory card in this M50. So I'm recording quite a lot because I want to see how quickly these files are able to transfer from this 512 gigabyte card. I had thought that I wouldn't be able to use these cards in this M50. I only got the cards yesterday and today I'm testing it out. So for the last 7 kilometers of walking, which is probably what we've done around about now, I may have been talking to a camera on a stick which wasn't recording me, or the SD card may not have been recording me, which would be annoying, but still good exercise. Holding a Canon M50 in front of your face.
In your old street you used to live in?
In my old street now, which I used to live in. This is my old hood. Beautiful little suburb in Cape Town, South Africa. Sunny South Africa today. Not every day. In winter is it sunny like this, but at the moment it's a postcard. Blue skies, just a nice little breeze for cooling, even though it's winter already. It doesn't need much more cooling. I'm sweating like a pedophile in the playground right now because I'm walking at 1,000 k's an hour.
My fast shoes.
Tammy has her fast shoes on. And now she's walking at like 3,000 k's an hour. Many years ago, I've known Tammy for like 100 years. I think she's quite a bit older than that. Many years ago, Tammy used to dawdle. She used to walk like a slug.
When I was
Now?
a fatty.
Huh?
When I was a fatty.
When you were a fatty. When Tammy was a fatty, she used to walk like a dawdler. And then I used to always go, come on, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. Now, I'm walking around with a flipping camera, trying my best to keep up with her.
Taking the wrong road.
We've taken the wrong road. Also, Tammy's got no sense of direction. Follow me, I'm right behind you. This Canon M50, after 7 or 8 Ks, will definitely get much heavier than it was when we began this trip. So, if you plan to do long walks with your Canon M50, get somebody else with bigger arms to record for you. I put this on my Tinder status. Loves long walks with camera. Hey! Anyhow, getting close to the German deli. It has my beautiful lunch meat waiting for me. The pig's blood. Have you ever had black pudding before? Black pudding basically. Today is weird food day. Biltong for breakfast, which is raw meat, dried, just dried, hung up, left to dry, and then you eat it. For lunch today, I'm going to have black pudding, which is basically pig's blood with pork fat. Pig's blood mixed with bacon fat, and that is black pudding. I don't like to tell people this, but it's actually a superfood nowadays. It's quite cheap because nobody eats it because it's kind of disgusting sounding, but it's really delicious. And if more people start buying it because I tell them it's a superfood, the price is going to skyrocket and then I won't be able to eat it anymore. So pig's blood is disgusting. You should not go out and try it at all, but if you do, you're in for a treat. One of the ways I like to test camera stabilization is by pointing the camera away from yourself. So I find that when I have a camera pointed at myself, the stabilization usually looks a little bit better than if I'm walking and I turn the camera around and face it at whatever, wherever I'm walking or whatever point of interest is out there. So what I like to do is turn the camera around thusly and then walk. Show your stuff. Nothing to see there. I've seen on a lot of my other vlogs with some of my other vlogging cameras that when the camera is pointed the other direction, there seems to be a lot more shudder and shake when I have the camera pointing at my face. Probably that shudder and shake is still occurring in the background, but the focus, which is obviously your face, you are the subject, maybe hides that effect away a little bit more. But yeah, so how did the M50 do with that? How did it do with that? Again, I'm not trying to walk smoothly. I'm walking as I normally do. Maybe I'm concentrating a tiny little bit on walking slightly smoother when I'm facing the camera away from myself, but not much at all. It was a backfire.
His car needs to get fixed.
Just missed that.
It's broken.
Tammy nearly did a back somersault. She's one of those hyper nervy people. If a balloon pops near her, she'll literally turn herself inside out. Now that car came past us, a little backfire, and
it was bloody big.
and Tammy did a small somersault in her own footprint. But I just missed it on camera. Damn you!
Yeah, well, you would have picked it up on audio.
Huh? So what? You didn't squeal?
No, but you would have.
Yeah, but you were doing that weird thing that you do.
You can actually see how loud it is.
You can see how loud it is.
Yeah.
You can hear how loud it is. Yeah, it's difficult to see sound, Tam. So that little bit of zoom there was the entire extent of this 11 to 22 millimeter lens. So whilst this 11 to 22 is nice and wide, super wide, so good like that, if you want to use it to zoom on other subjects as you walk past them, etc., they're not too much good for that, but it does its primary job very well. Can't complain with that at all. That was Table Mountain in the background, by the way. One of the 7 wonders of the natural world. One of the new 7 wonders of the natural world. If you haven't seen it before, come visit Cape Town. Stunning place. Beautiful little mountain to climb. Not like Kilimanjaro, but not bad at all. Yeah, it's a bit crazy in there. So I've just been with Tammy into her vaping shop. She's given up smoking cigarettes now for 6 months, which is fantastic, of course. But now she's taken up vaping. So I just went into that vaping shop with her, and there's like 6 guys standing around just vaping hard. It looks like the inside of a 1980s music video. There's just smoke tumbling out the door, literally. It's so intense. It's like walking inside a cloud over there, but a smelly cloud. It smells like peanut butter and flipping candy floss and pecan nuts and shit like that. Reminds me of when I was young. I had one of those little model trains that went on a track round and round. If you put like 3 drops of cooking oil into the top of it, it would also smoke choo 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 as it went along. Now they think that vaping is all cool and stuff. You just suck in the smoke out of my old model train, basically.
It's not smoke.
Huh?
Vapor.
It's vapor smoke. I'm not sure it's vapor. I don't know. That's some weird. Does it use a heating coil, Tam?
Yes.
Yes. So how's it vaporizing? Isn't it making smoke?
It doesn't make smoke, it makes vapor.
You sure?
It's mist.
Is it?
And then it just
It looks like smoke to me. If it look like smoke, if it look like a duck and quack like a duck, it's a duck. Huh?
If it's not a cigarette in a room, that smoke will just stay there. It's not a vapor, it eventually disappears.
If it look like a duck and it quack like a duck. That's all I'm saying about that. Right, nearly 9 kilometers later, and I'm still walking. on my way home though, final leg. I'm in all this shade here of the late afternoon sun, going out into the light again and then back into the shade. How is this camera setting? Working with this darkness. I haven't locked the ISO as such, so it should be adjusting itself, but is it still looking decent, and how long does it take for the exposure to change? The white balance itself is locked to the little sun icon, so that is something that won't change, but the rest of it is kind of automatic. Back in the light, the sun behind myself, so my face will be in shadow, a little bit of backlighting behind. Do I look like a silhouette, or can you see some detail in the shadow on my face? Can you see my face? Okay, now obviously I'm in darkness, and again with the light behind. So this Canon M50 does a job. The G7X does quite a good job of these kinds of lighting situations where you're going from dark to light and then back to dark. This M50, I have noticed, is a little bit slower when it comes to dynamic range, dynamic lighting situations. G7X, I really think actually beats it in this department, although the M50 does take a little bit longer to correct its lighting situation. Sometimes if you're going just very quickly to a dark situation and then a light situation, that can be advantageous because it's not flicking quickly between settings, whereas the G7X might do that. But there is a G7X versus M50 shootout planned very soon. By the time you watch this video, it's already out. Click on my link, check it out, see what you think. That is the one thing I'm going to do next week. I've been invited to a hotel to come and take some photos of their food. So they're going to be cooking for me specifically. They are cooking for a Father's Day event which they are planning. So they're going to be designing their menu and then cooking those meals for me. I'm not a father, but I am taking the photographs of the meals for them, and they're going to then feed me those meals. So all the photos I take of all the meals, I will get in payment. In return for my photographs, I will get to eat those meals. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to be doing the shootout comparison between the G7X and the M50, with the aim of seeing whether this M50 is even necessary at all. Can I use the G7X entirely instead of the M50? If I'm looking for an external microphone, I can always use it in my Hero 7 Black. If I want to do something like a wireless mic, I am doing some testing of wireless mics very soon. That is one of the only other reasons I can think of to keep this M50, unless this M50 can outgun my G7X in sort of low to mid light tests indoors in a studio situation, for instance, which is where I may need its prowess, and that may save its bacon. Time will tell. Go watch the rest of those tests. If you still are not convinced about the M50 after all these tests, and I'm sure you've watched many more, here you can see how the stabilization is doing. This is on a monopod which stabilizes. This is on a monopod which stabilizes the camera a little bit better than if it's just on a shorty handle. This also gives me a little more real estate to work with in the footage because the camera is slightly further away from me.
Laces on.
My laces are undone. My laces are always undone. I like to live dangerously. If I fall and break this camera, it's your fault. So go and check out the other videos, in particular the G7X versus the M50 and the M50 versus the GoPro Hero 7 for vlogging. Check them out, see what you think. If you're still undecided, then these are the videos to watch. But I also have a few other videos of stabilization tests and indeed settings as well on the M50. I am still battling myself to go into full manual mode with this camera. For some reason I get some weird pictures and some weird results. You'll see those on some of the other tests. For now, arrivederci. I'm going to go eat my breakfast and lunch for dinner.